Hello everyone. My name is Professor Miller. Today in this video I am going to tell you about interview and its types. But, first we will see what an interview is. Interview is a formal meeting or conversation between employer and job applicant. When we go for an interview in a company, we meet HR of the company or professional employer or chief. We call it a formal meeting because we meet them for some purpose, and it may also be called as a conversation because we have to interact with that person, we have to converse with him, so it's called as conversation. So, the interview is a formal meeting or conversation between employer and job applicant. Hope you understand this. Next we will see types of interviews. There are many types of interviews which are conducted in many companies in different ways. So, we will them see one by one. Types of interviews are screening, telephone interview, video conferencing, one-on-one, face-to-face interview, group interview, panel interview, behavioral interview. I'll explain you all types of interviews one by one. First type of interview, screening or telephone interview. This type of interview is almost conducted by every company. Telephone interviews are done for initial screening of candidates from the pool of candidates. In every company large numbers of applicants apply for a job, so they do the initial screening. That means they shortlist the candidates by calling them. That's why it's called as telephone interview. Screening interviews are conducted by Human Resource Department. Almost in every company there's a department for recruiting, that is HRD, Human Resources Department, and this department only conduct interviews for screening candidates. They only call candidates for initial screening. This type of interview allows an employer to screen candidates on the basis of candidates' experience, qualification and salary expectations pertaining for the position in the company. First they consider your experience, then they see through your educational qualification and also your salary expectation whether matching with their company requirements or not. So, these 2 to 3 criteria are considered for initial screening. Second type of interview is video conferencing. In this type of interview, video conference technology is used to conduct interviews, using a video call setup from a distance. When a job applicant is unable to reach the company or the manager is unable to reach the location where interview has to be conducted, then video conferencing technology is used. So, in this type of interview there is no need for a candidate to move out or for an employer to go to candidate's location, but this type of interview is very rare and mostly seen in big companies. Third type of interview is one-on-one or face-to-face interview. So let's see. This is a traditional form of interview where one candidate is interviewed by one of the employee of the company. This is the oldest form of interview which is used by almost every company, either it's a small company or a big company, where interview of only one candidate is taken at a time. This is the most common interview format conducted by direct HR professional or employee of the company. So as I said, this is oldest and most common type of because it is conducted in every company. One-on-one means one interviewer will take one candidate at a time. This interview may be taken by some HR professional or it may be taken by elite employee of the company. It is called face-to-face interview because job applicant meets interviewer face-to-face. Fourth type of interview is group interview, as the name itself indicates that the interview is being conducted in groups. A group interview consists of one small group of candidates for interviewing together. A group may vary from 2 candidates to 5 candidates. This type of interview is time saver for interviewer as they can easily select the best one among group. Candidate might also be asked to solve a problem and puzzle together, which allows interviewer to identify candidate's skill. Interviewer gives you some problems and will ask you to solve them together. This interview helps interviewer to identify candidate's communicational skills, reasoning ability and teamwork skills. Companies conducting group interview easily pre-screen candidates in less amount of time. A group interview is similar to group discussion, GD, where a topic is given to the group and they are asked to discuss it. As I mentioned earlier, the interviewer will either give a topic to discuss or a problem to solve in group. While examining group discussion, interviewer will observe one's communicational skills, knowledge and teamwork skills. Group discussions are mostly held during campus placements. GT is next phase of aptitude test. Hope you understand this. Fifth type of interview is panel interview. A panel interview takes place when a job applicant is interviewed by panel of interviewers. Panel means group of interviewers. In panel, a selection committee or interview committee is appointed for interviewing the candidates. The panel may include 3 to 5 members. panel is a selection committee or interview committee, or we can call it group of interviewers who are appointed by the company for interviewing the candidates, and varies from 3 to 5 members depending on the company. Multinational companies appoints 5 persons in panel, whereas a small company appoint 2 to 3 person in panel. Either individual candidate will be interviewed by the panel or multiple candidates will be interviewed by the panel. The main question is who the people in panel are. The panel may consist of different representatives of the company of different departments such as Human Resource Department, Employees and Manager. There will be 1 person from HRD, 1 person will be a common employee of the company, and 1 person will be a chief or elite employee of the company. This type of interview also saves time of whole interview process as people in panel makes decisions very fast and also takes 2 to 3 candidates for interview at a time. Collective judgment of panel regarding the candidate helps in fast decision making for a selection of right candidate. Hope you understand panel interview. 6th type of interview is behavioral interview. Behavioral interview is based on observing how the interviewee reacted in past employment-related situation. The motto of the interviewer is to know how you have handled situations in past during the job. They want to know your behavior in the past on the basis of which they will predict how you will behave in the future. Your past performance predicts your future performance. The interviewer will ask you to illustrate some specific examples from your past experience that helped you in achieving something or that helped your company in some ways. So, you should be prepared by thinking a specific example from your past that was possible just because your competency framework, problem-solving skills, communication, creativity, flexibility and organizational skills. You have to think of an example, because the way you express your example will be a game changer of your interview. This part is essential for your interview and also increase the chances of your selection. The example must express your skill, for example, how your leadership skills or problem-solving skill or decision-making power solved a particular problem instantly. You must express the example that how you tactfully handled the situation and how many skills do you have that helped the company. Sometimes the interviewer will ask you to imagine a situation and will ask you about your way of handling it. Your answer will give him a hint about your behavior. The situation may belong to your personal life or your work environment. He can ask you to imagine if a particular problem occurs in the company, then how you will handle it. Your answer will give him prospect about you, your way of handling situation, and also about your problem-solving skills. Hope you understand this. 7th and the last type of interview is sequential interview. So let's see what is a sequential interview. Sequential interview is conducted by 2 or more interviewers separately or in sequence. You have to pass in one interview before going to another interview. The candidate moves from one interviewer to another or stays in the room and while different interviewers joins him. You give 2 to 3 interviews in sequential. You should be aware how you present yourself as you are going to give 2 to 3 interviews. You have to prove yourself many times. At the end of the interview process, each interviewer will judge you on the basis of your performance and they will discuss whether to hire you or not. I hope you understand sequential interview.